Salut! Today we're going to talk about how we use the imperfect to describe the past. And in the future we're going to spend a lot of time on the difference between the passé composé and the imparfait. But for today you want to focus on the question, how do we use the imparfait? The imparfait is used to describe people, scenes, actions, or conditions in the past. So sometimes we call the imparfait the descriptive tense. The imparfait is used to describe conditions and circumstances that form the background of another past action. So we think of the imparfait as the scenery of the play and the emotions of the actors and the characters in the play. So now we're going to talk about some examples of conditions and circumstances. So let's take a look at this background. So one way that we use the imparfait for the conditions and circumstances is to describe time and weather. So if we're describing time, we would say il était minuit. Okay. So we're using the verb être in the imparfait to describe what time it was. Another thing we could say is il faisait noir. It's dark out. We use the expression il fait noir, but we put faire, faisait into the imparfait. And then the other one we could describe, il neigeait. And we keep that E in there because it's the GER verb to snow. So it says, it was dark, it was snowing, it was midnight. So this is the imparfait because we're setting the scene. It's a description. So we've set the scene. So another way that we can use the imparfait to describe conditions and circumstances is to describe the outward physical appearance. So we've got a man, a large, a tall, a big man who is wearing a raincoat and a hat, and he has with him a briefcase and a flashlight. So here's how we would use the imparfait to describe him. So we have l'homme était grand. The man was tall or big. Il portait un empire et un chapeau. So he was wearing a raincoat and a hat. And il avait une mallette et une lampe de poche. He had a briefcase and a flashlight. So these are all outward physical appearances. So the reason why these are imparfait is that it describes what the person looked like. So it's a description. Another way that we use the imparfait is to describe the mental or emotional state of people in the past. So let's look at how we would describe this character. So we have il était très intelligent, il avait l'air mystérieux, et il voulait trouver le voleur. So we have he was very intelligent, he seemed mysterious, and he wanted to find the thief or the robber. So this is the imparfait because it describes what he is like or feeling and what he wants or what he wishes in the past. So what he was like or feeling and what he wanted or wished in the past. That was his mental or emotional state. The last of the conditions and circumstances of the past that we're going to talk about are external circumstances. These are other actions going on that set the background of the scene, and we use the imparfait to describe them. So we have Il y avait des personnes dans la rue. There were people on the street. Et les voitures allaient vite. So the cars were going fast. This is the imparfait because these are other actions going on that set the scene. They are the background actions and they serve as description, like we talked about, setting up the background, the descriptive tense. So besides the circumstances of an event that set the background for a scene, to use the imparfait, the other reason we talk about using the imparfait is for habitual actions. So this is to describe actions or events that were repeated habitually for an indefinite period in the past. So used in this way, the imparfait describes a situation that recurred regularly. Here are 3 examples of habitual actions described with the imparfait. Je parlais souvent à mon père après l'école. Il finissait tous les jours à 5 heures. Et quand j'avais jeune, je jouais avec ma poupée chaque jour. So these are the imperfect because these are actions that happened again and again and again in the past. They're recurring habitual actions. So while we're looking at these, if you take a look at these sentences, I talked often to my dad after school. This word often is a very common word that signifies the use of the imparfait. In the next sentence, il finissait tous les jours à 5 heures. Tous les jours, every day, is another common word for the imparfait. And quand j'avais jeune, je jouais avec ma poupée chaque jour, each day or every day. Again, words that clue you when you should use the imparfait. So now you're going to get several vocabulary words, several clue words that will indicate when we use the imparfait because they indicate habitual actions or the circumstances of events. We have le soir, tous les soirs, le matin, tous les matins, le mardi, tous les mardis, chaque jour, tous les jours, chaque année et chaque semaine. Tout le temps, d'habitude, habituellement, toujours, autrefois, parfois, souvent, fréquemment, en ce temps-là et en général. So that concludes this video about the uses of the imparfait. Remember what you learned before with the formation of the imparfait, and that we will also be talking about the difference between the imparfait and the passé composé. For now, remember you can rewatch and rewind the video as necessary, and please feel free to ask me if you have any questions.